So two of our members are now in Jerusalem setting up. This is just to show a bit of the different backgrounds. This is work by Joan Velverafecas. He's from Barcelona. אבל אז אני צריכה להעביר את זה. Okay. His background is actually engineering. And the second is Raphael Coutin. He's from France, and he's actually, his background is sculpture.
That's me. I'm a different member of the collective. I joined later after they established the collaboration, and I studied at the same time at the bachelor program, so I did men and well-being. And through the studies, I got to do service design, or men and well-being was human-centric design department, and later on, that's how I joined the collective.
So I actually started at Bezalel, at the jewelry department. And after graduating, I worked as a shoe designer for about 3 or 4 years. And when I was looking for a way to expand what design means to me, I chose the master program at the Design Academy. Now I write about design processes. I design glasses together with Michael Zinzowski in a studio called Reforma. And I work with Billy on a few projects researching gestures.
And interaction.
So for us, Fictional Collective is called a collective, but it doesn't really function as a collective. We see it more as a network or a community, some sort of platform where we all come together. We rarely work 27 people on one project at the same time, but it's a place for us to come back to bounce ideas, to enrich our practice.
To ask questions as well, daily.
So
this is the core group.
I think we never managed to take a picture of all of us together.
But on Skype sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah. So this is a timeline showing the forming of the collective and the process we went through in the last years. It's a personal view of it. It's one perspective out of many. I'm sure each member of the collective doing this kind of timeline will come up with something different. It all started actually before even beginning the program. About a month before starting the Design Academy, we all received a letter from Jan Bolen, the head of the social design program, announcing the resignation of all the heads of the master departments. So he said, "Welcome to the Design Academy. We all quit. Enjoy."
Have fun.
So the first reaction was a bunch of people who didn't know each other started emailing and talking about, okay, what is this situation? What can we do? How can we fix it? And immediately there was a group of people with a common interest and a power to change something. And
who never met.
Who never met. And a month later, at the beginning of the year, we were already a close group acting together, and the heads came back.
So you had a 3-year limit?
No. They withdrew their resignation. We held meetings with the academy. We opened a Facebook group. We did everything we could to actually get what we... Yes. So an institution is what brought us together, but we're not an institution. We don't function as an institution. And actually, even when we were studying, most of what I see as valuable learning came outside of the academy. It was the informal interaction. Billy wasn't in our program, but she was most of the time there.
But it's how the ideas started. I mean, everything came, it started in the backyard over some sorts of food.
So when we graduated, we realized that we created something special together, and we wanted to keep working together to find a way to continue what we started. And at the same time, we were looking for a way to counter the way the Design Academy was exhibiting the projects of the master programs. The Design Academy was very successful in exhibiting the bachelor programs, but then something in the masters got lost. And we decided to have parallel exhibitions showing a different side of the project, the process and what we went through in our methodologies. And through these conversations, again in a barbecue in the backyard, we decided to start the Fictional Collective. We won't go into all of these, but
these are projects of other members.
Each one of us has a different definition of what social design is, or how he or she sees their purpose as social designers. But I think we can skip that. Down the middle there?
This after 1 year, the members tried to.
No, this is actually, I think. No, okay. No, this is the beginning.
I wasn't there.
Right. So we split into groups: vision, manifesto, budget, exhibition, publication, and we tried to cover everything we wanted to do in 3 months between the day the academic year ended and the Design Academy graduation show in October. So naturally, everyone joined the group that fit hers or her interests and capabilities. And we soon came to realize that we were actually designing a way of working. And an important part of the collaborative process was learning from our process and defining the tools and the interaction, the way to interact.
Fictional Collective became the product or
a case study.
The case study of this community.
And this is a constant discussion and questions we ask ourselves, how we work and how do 27 individuals realize anything. There are, of course, many difficulties in a collaborative process: technical communication problems, language uncertainty, and it requires
motivation sometimes.
If everyone has a different motivation, then how do we meet and work together? And there's a lot of, it requires trust and patience in the process and in each other.
And the fact that each one of us define the collective differently, then also how do you motivate people to collaborate on a project without understanding what is the meaning of the collective? I mean, this is kind of the daily discussion. What do we do?
And I think that, as Billy said, we're not looking for a constant definition of what the Fictional Collective is. And the only thing we actually agree on is disagreeing, and that's what motivates us. So the first exhibition, and actually only exhibition we did together as a group, was called Fragments of Ongoing Fiction. It happened parallel to the graduation exhibition at the Design Academy. And each member showed a fragment of their methodologies. And what was nice about this exhibition is that it created a different pace to Design Week, and wasn't the hectic running to see everything. People actually stopped and looked and sat in the space and read and managed to create the links between what they were seeing here and what they saw at the Design Academy earlier that day.
That was always the problem during the graduation show at the Design Academy, that the master students wanted to show their thesis, and together with not so-called the final product, because it's a shorter time, and while the bachelor students had this super shiny, colorful products, and people
they just didn't
took less time
understand,
to,
and people that came to visit couldn't understand what they were seeing, and it was harder for them to engage, and we were trying to find a way to engage with people. We'll go shortly about other projects we worked on. We were invited by Depot Basel to create an exhibition at their space on the topic of
contemporary work
conditions
of the creative community.
And this is actually, here I invited Billy to collaborate with me on the project, and what actually led to her joining the collective.
And this is our first project in the next parallel direction of the collective.
Together with an exhibition, we created an online publication that was triggered by events in the exhibition space. So every week, one of the projects triggered a discussion or a performance, and we invited outside people outside of the collective to comment and participate.
So basically, it was, if Fictional Collective is kind of a hub, then this is another circle that joins this hub, and it expands the
network of connections and working relations. This is just one of the contributions we got to the publications. This is a schedule, a daily schedule of a designer.
And another
Plugin City is another project that happened at the same time. Here again, a few members of the collective were invited by a different group of people, Plugin City, and they have Container City in Eindhoven, and they created a community that's working together there. The Fictional Collective was invited to take part and create the identity and the gallery, the vertical gallery. And again, this is how our network expanded towards another network.
And as well, finally, a physical place, which is Fictional Collective.
So if these two projects that we showed before were created by invitation, this is a project that was initiated by 3 members. It's called the Fictional Journal. What they did is they decided on a topic, which was fear and counteracting fear with joy and humor. And they opened, they created an open call, first within the collective, inviting the members to react on the topic.
So, I mean, I decided to answer this call, and we collaborated with Ella Rothschild, choreographer, and made. I'll try to show it. We made a platform to fight fear. So basically, we created.
Cry.
Okay.
Restless legs. Freeze arms back. Clenched
The sound
fists.
is weird.
Shallow breathing. Arms
Basically, it's a
back.
platform where you learn
Shivering.
this dance
Snow. Turn. Pounding hard.
Okay.
Swing arm back. Cover head.
Let's see what I'm
Turn. Run. Gas and hand. Take cover.
So it takes the bodily actions of reacting to fear, the fight, flight, and freeze mechanism, and reappropriates them into this dance choreographed. And we invited people to do the dance and
To learn it, record themselves, and then join this
unfearing
collective.
community.
Yeah.
רוצה להראות את ה...
כן.
משהו כמו עוד 3-4 דקות.
אוקיי,
סבבה.
תתחילי ככה לעבוד.
So we'll jump a bit forward. All of these projects that Billy and I did together within the collective led to us working together on researching gestures, and now we're working with the Israel Museum on, we received the Sandberg Fund for Design Methodology, and we're now compiling a database of bodily gestures, connecting them to emotional responses. But move a bit further. So we keep talking about the infrastructure and how we work, and how
This is what led us to the. So we got invited by the Jerusalem Design Week curators to join the Islands exhibition, and we quickly decided to create the fictional island. And wait, this is not it.
a bit forward.
Which is basically a perspective on our case study as a collective, and we created this imaginary space which is constructed out of 27 different realities.
So again, we try to define our process, and if 4 members out of the collective are actually working on this project, how is it a fictional collective project, and how do we see the fictional island? אפשר להסביר לאינטרנט?
Yeah. So the internet is basically a collection of endless islands. Okay, like Facebook groups, chat rooms, and we live there. I mean, as well, Minecraft and Second Life are alternate realities. But what we're actually creating is a place. It's that we can all meet and work together and talk about things that reality constrain us, and then act in reality in 27 different locations. And while doing that, we started to decide to build this island. So the first idea was that we have to create a border. What is the border of this island?
We started looking at the elements that define an island. So maybe border, the landscape, the weather, the people, and if the yeah, it's a bit. And how do they all come together in fictional collective? So I think we won't go now into the project because we're a bit out of time, but you're welcome to Design Week to see, and we can talk more about the mechanism of the fictional island. And that's it.
Yes.
Thank you, Sigal.